actually fairly frightening.
I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hey, how's it going? And today I'm going to be starting a series on how to do a valve job on all these heads for less than $100. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 heads that I'm going to redo all the valves. I am going to lap all the valves and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. So I first off bought this tool from Jegs. It's a $70 tool. It's meant for this application of head. It just bolts on. Then you got a clamp here and you can pop in and out the actual springs and retainers. First things first, I'm going to take all the valve springs and retainers out, put them into bags, individualize everything, and see what's good and what's bad. I'm actually going to take all the springs to a spring compressor and pick out all the ones that have the most strength for spring. So I'm going to be putting in the best ones into the heads that I prefer to be in my built engine, and then I'll keep the actual springs out of the ones that I have for spares, and I'll just put springs in them later because I have some built springs in my actual other engine, so I can put those in later. But the biggest job is to lap them so you get great compression. This will cost you less than $100 to do even just 2. This is gonna cost me less than $100 to do all of these heads. Go and get your Jegs ordered up. Took about a week from the States for me. It's a great tool. It was only like 50 something bucks. And here I have valve grinding compound. This is what I'm going to do to make the seats like brand new again. You can pretty much order this stuff anywhere. You can just go on Amazon, eBay, you can get it locally. You can pretty much get it anywhere for about 25 bucks. In this one, I have got everything set up in my kitchen. I got a piece of cardboard underneath. You need a piece of cardboard underneath for the valves to push down on. I'll explain that in a minute. But yeah, thankfully my girlfriend's really cool with this, so let's get started. So basically all you have to do is you have to find some shims. I used some lock washers for underneath to get above this actual filler piece here because the tool didn't go wide enough. So I used a shim on the bottom and then threw in a 10 mil bolt on each one, and she's solid. I can literally pick up the head by it. So we're good to go. So now I'm going to remove all the HLAs. All you got to do is just spin them and pull them out with pliers, and then I'll show you what to do from there. On here is I have a bag for all the HLAs right there. I have a bag for all the intake valves, and then I have a bag for all the exhaust valves, and then I have a bag for all my springs. So I'm gonna have everything mixed up but organized. So once I'm done ripping everything apart, so I'm gonna do one step at a time, just ripping apart today. And then I'm gonna go through all the valves, make sure they aren't burnt up or anything, and pick the good ones. And then basically make 2 or 4 sets of heads that have great used parts, and basically just budget build till I die. So I'm just gonna explain to you what to do when you store them. They have to be upside down when you store them, or if you store them like this plunger will slowly come out, and then when you go to put them into your engine and put your cams in, your cams won't fit because these have actually gotten longer. So remember to store them upside down, and then or take them apart. You can also just rip these actual plungers out. You just get in there with some pliers, twist, and then pull, and then everything comes out, and then all this stuff also comes apart. There's a spring inside. I almost lost it, but I didn't. And then just like so. So yeah, you can take those apart and clean them if you want to, but right now I have got other videos on that, so you can check that out. I'm gonna show you how to take these out. You just go in with pliers very carefully and then pull out. Just as easy as that, and then store like that. Remove all the HLAs out. So that was the easy part, getting the HLAs out, putting them in a bag, making sure they were organized. So now I am going to take out the springs and retainers. That is the most difficult part of this process. But if you have the right tool like this Jegs one, you will be able to do it fairly easily by yourself. I've done this so long just by doing it with a socket and a piece of cardboard. It sucks. I'm over it. Buy the legit tool and then move on with your life, and people will like you better. Recap, if you do follow my content, you probably know that I actually put a new engine into the front of my twin engine MX-3 and it didn't run very well at the first startup. So this is the head I originally replaced because I had problems with the valves not actually seating properly and the compression was just popping right out. So we're gonna find out and fix this problem so I can have the spare for that. So yeah, so basically if your head valves aren't seating properly, they're gonna leak through the intake and through the exhaust and make you have no compression. And that's exactly what was happening with my engine. So it's very important to have a nice solid head. If you don't, you're gonna have kind of odd compression numbers. And this is easy and cheap. And if you follow this video, you'll be able to do it yourself. So definitely watch all these ones, and it is good knowledge to know and have a properly running engine for a long time. And now it's time to take the actual springs and retainers out. And by doing so, I need to press down with some sort of tool and get out those little retainers. There's 2 of them in there. So I have this tool, bolts right up. I explained that earlier. And I am going to put this little bar on the very top corner hole here, and I will show you further. Then you will find a couple weird tools in this kit. So what you want to do is you want to push it on to the top hole on this piece and then the second hole on the actual handle, and then shove this pin in and then give her a shot from there. This is what's worked mint for me. So now I can just basically put this piece in there and it hooks around there, and then I can easily go up and down with the spring, as you can see right there. And I have everything mounted center on the actual bolted in spots of the head. Now I go in with my tool here, get it on the notch that's the closest to the actual thing, and I have cardboard on my kitchen counter here. Yes, I said kitchen counter because why not? You might as well use your kitchen counter, stay comfy, stay warm. Anyways, so now I'm going to push down until the valve touches the cardboard. And just like that, they come right out. Okay, finally got it. That was actually very difficult. I don't know why, but I usually have a lot more luck than that. So now the spring and retainer will come out. There will be 2 clips. I've got one in my hand and there's still one right there in there. So you don't want to lose these. These ones are actually strong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in a bag right away. And if those parts are still gonna stay in there, I'm gonna leave them in there and then just move on and get all of these springs and retainers loose. So and then I can flip it upside down and then get them all out just so I can save some time. Another easy way to get them out, this is the quickest way to get them out for sure. You put the tool on here, and then you just give it a whack with a hammer and it'll get the retainers out. There we go. And they pop right out. It doesn't damage anything. Should be good to go. Now I'm gonna take all the springs and retainers out. The intakes are different than the actual exhaust ones on this head because this is a KLZE head. So I'm gonna keep them separate, and I'm probably not gonna use the intake ones over here because they are weaker, they are larger. I'm gonna show you what they look like as well. So this is the intake side and this is the exhaust side. As you can see that the exhaust side is much more narrow. So the actual intake one is wider, exhaust is narrower, and from research, the actual retainers are bigger and weaker. So these are not optimal. They're not good for over 7,000 RPM. These ones, if you throw them in a ZE head, it won't do too bad. But these, it's asking for dropping a valve and all that bad stuff. So I'm just gonna keep them all separate and decide what I'm gonna do later. Here I'm removing the intake springs on the KLZE head. They are larger, like I stated. All right, so I got all the springs, all the retainers, all that stuff out. So HLAs are in this bag. These are the intake springs for the ZE. So these are just ZE intake ones that are probably not gonna be used because they're large and they're weak. And then here's all the DE ones. These are the ones that are gonna be good for high revving and everything. So I'm saving these. These again are the exhaust valves. These are the intake valves out of the ZE engine. These are basically trash because if you're gonna take them apart, you might as well put these DE ones. They fit in no problem, but they rev the engine higher, so that's perfect. And then all of the retainers and clips and stuff. So I'm ready to take out the valves. So to take out the valves, all you gotta do, flip the head like this. Look, they already wanna come out. Most of them are out already, but I'm gonna poke them out so I can grab them and pull them out easily. So all I'm gonna do is go to the other side, use my finger, poke them out, just poke them out a little bit, so then I can grab them on the other side. Now I am going to remove them. So, oh damn. So this was the cylinder that I was having problems with before, and it looks like there's literally sand on the intake valve here, and I was having compression problems with the intake valve. So this is gonna be definitely the problem where it lies, because as I pulled it out, like grit and stuff came off. So check this one out. Yeah, it's got quite a bit of stuff on it. So pretty much it just needs re-lapped. So that's what I'm gonna be showing you how to do in this series. So exhaust ones are the small ones and the large ones are the intakes. So all I'm doing is taking them out and then putting them in bags. One's for exhaust, one's for intake, and then everything's gonna be nice and organized. And I'm going to be able to clean them up at my shop with a wire wheel before I actually lap them. Okay, all the valves are out. So now I'm just gonna take a quick peek at the seats. So the seat is where the valve and the head meet. And as you can see, that there's quite a bit of pitting. It's not like it's a clean surface. That is more of a clean surface. You can literally see a little bit of reflection there. It's crazy how much just a little bad connection from the valve to the head can make a major compression problem. This was the cylinder I had most of my troubles with right here, and it was the intake side. I could see it popping through, so looks like it's covered in quite a bit of oil, so things were leaking, I'm not sure. So I'm gonna have to inspect this further later. I'm gonna mark this head and check it out later. This is the second head I am working on. It is also a ZE head. So what I'm gonna do is the exact same thing. Take out all the HLAs, which are these guys, organize them nicely, and then take out the valve springs with the hammer method. The hammer method actually works really good on this. You just put it in, hammer, out she comes without the retainers. Organize it, take the valves out, and then do a quick look over on the seats. So you did see me rip apart one head in very detail on how to do so, and in the rest of the video I will be ripping apart the other 6. I'm ripping them apart to salvage the valves, to salvage the springs, the retainers, everything. I'm just collecting everything that's good, sorting everything that's good in the end, and then moving forward with using the good parts and then lapping everything and making mint heads. So I don't know if I'm gonna end up with 5 heads that are rebuilt from having 2 as a donor, or 2 heads as a donor, or what, but it's gotta be good. So I ripped apart all my heads to salvage as much good parts as I could possibly get. So what I found, it is the quickest to just hammer with the actual tool, not attached to the bar. Obviously the bar would be better for installing them, but like when I say bar, I'm talking about the jegs tool that I bolted on. So that's just a little trick that I learned over doing all these heads. With removing, it was a lot quicker just to tap them with a hammer and the retainers would pop out. And I assure you, this is not going to damage them. This has been done many times by myself, and this is actually the proper tool to use it with. So I did all the heads, all the valves, all the springs, all the retainers are out. And I just want to show you why valves are very important. And if you look very closely at this valve, there's rust on it, right? And these are all the intakes, and the intakes are fairly clean, but as you move along, look at all the rust on that. So that's not going to seal very well. No, it's not on the actual mating surface. The mating surface is the shiny area, but still there is rust on that mating surface as well. So that's not going to make it seal, and those really need to be sealed to make good power and like have consistent power, right? Because if you don't have all the cylinders firing, making the same power. It makes the engine run unbalanced, and it just doesn't work good. So it's good to have 100% equal compression on each cylinder. So this will really help. And then when you move along to the actual exhaust, look how dirty they are. It's crazy. It's just all covered in soot, and same with inside of the actual head. But the reason why the intake one is so much cleaner is because it gets sprayed with fuel, and obviously the exhaust gets all the soot going through it and everything. So basically I'm gonna put these into a bag. They're all organized. These are the intakes, these are the exhausts, retainers, these are the springs for the DE, these are the ZE ones, and then all the HLAs. So I'm going to take all these valves and the heads back to the shop, and then I'm gonna take them to a wire wheel before I go any further and get them all real clean right up to the shaft point where it goes into the valve guide, because you can see the soot all stops and that's where it hits the valve guide. So all that can come off. I've got probably a couple hours at least cleaning up these valves. So the bottoms are also gonna need clean, because that's a very dirty valve. That's a very dirty valve. You see what I mean? Like all that I'm gonna clean. So this engine will run mint. Actually, hopefully all of them, because I'm doing enough heads to power 3 engines. So it'll be a lot of work. All right, I've got everything here all finished. All the heads are taken apart. So in the next video, I will be soaking the heads, I will be soaking the valves, and I will be cleaning everything just as like it would be done at a machine shop, but on a budget with special tricks that I know and I will be teaching you. So definitely watch the next video and like, comment, subscribe. This is usually fairly frightening.
I'm gonna make